Hey, what's going on everybody? It's ETA Prime back here again with the all-new Retroid Pocket 3, and today we're going to be taking a look at some game streaming and cloud gaming on this little handheld. So I've already posted one video taking a close look at the Retroid Pocket 3. We tested a bunch of stuff in that video. If you're interested in checking it out, I'll leave a link in the description. But one of the main reasons I got excited about this device when the pre-orders went up was for cloud gaming and streaming. We've got a nice little 16.9-inch IPS display, built-in controls, and AC Wi-Fi. And I've been really digging the form factor here. It's not much bigger than the PS Vita, it's smaller than the Switch Lite, and a lot smaller than the Steam Deck, as you can see. Retroid is offering these in a few different colors. It's not the most powerful device in the world, but like I mentioned, we've got a 16.9-inch screen here, which in my opinion really isn't great for retro gaming because we'll have those borders on the side. But that aspect ratio does work out really well for native Android gaming and PC gaming. Now, before we jump into it, I did want to give you a quick rundown on the specs here. For that CPU, we've got the Unisoc Tiger T310. This is a quad-core ARM CPU. We've got one A75 core at 2 GHz and 3 A55 cores at 1.8. The GPU is the PowerVR GE8300 at 800 MHz. You can pick this up with either 2 or 3 GB of RAM. Both of them are going to have 32 GB of internal storage, plus micro SD card support. We've got a 4.7-inch IPS display with a resolution of 750 by 1334. It is a 60 Hz display with a 16 by 9 aspect ratio. It's got a 4000 mAh battery running Android 11, and when it comes to pricing, $119 for the 2 GB model and $129 for the 3. Alright, so yeah, we're running Android. It does have access to Google Play, so we can go through and download basically anything we want on this unit. And in this video, we're going to be testing out some Moonlight, some Steam Link, some Geforce Now, some xCloud, and some PlayStation Remote Play. You could always go through and download Stadia or Amazon Luna or even AMD Link, but I personally don't use those apps much, and I figured, testing out those four would give you a good idea of how this thing's going to perform with those also. So first up, we've got Geforce Now. I've just loaded right into some Witcher 3 if you're not familiar with Geforce Now. Basically, what this is doing is running from NVIDIA's cloud servers. So there's a couple different tiers to it, but you can get something with an RTX, so you could do ray tracing on with a lot of games. I've been subscribed to this since it was released. This is the Founders Edition, and anything I want to play at 1080p, I can totally max it out. Like The Witcher 3 here, streaming from their servers at 1080p, Ultra, and I have post-processing set to as high as it can go. I'm connected to my 5 GHz network at the house, and I do notice a couple hiccups here and there, and I've kind of always run into this with Geforce Now, even on higher end systems. It's not coming down to the performance of the handheld itself, it's really just network latency. Now, if this did have Wi-Fi 6 built in, there's a chance we could get a little better experience out of it, but I've been able to play a lot of different games with Geforce Now on this handheld so far, like Fortnite, Cyberpunk 2077, Witcher, and I also tested a few of the free-to-play games that they have listed up on the front page. But overall, Geforce Now does work pretty well on the Pocket 3. Next up, we're going to take a look at Moonlight. Now, personally, I use Steam Link more than Moonlight, but a lot of people ask me to test this out, and I've actually had a pretty decent experience with it. If you've got an NVIDIA card, then that's basically all you need, because this isn't streaming from the cloud. This is actually streaming from my home gaming PC. So latency is going to be much less. We're actually on the same network, and when it comes down to it, on my PC, when I stream from it, I always have that plugged into Ethernet, so we're only working with one wireless device here, and that's going to be the handheld. But yeah, just keep in mind with Moonlight, it's not cloud gaming. This is streaming from a PC you already own that has enough power to play these games. And one of the big reasons I love these streaming apps over cloud gaming is latency. Well, the lack of latency. Like I mentioned, we're on the same network right now, so latency is very, very minimal when you compare it to cloud gaming with something like xCloud. But yeah, this little device is handling Moonlight like a champ. Next up, we've got Steam Link. So this is working just like Moonlight. We're going to be streaming directly from my PC in the house, and with this, I've actually been able to set up basically anything I want to run over here. I usually have a couple emulators set up, like the Dolphin emulator for Gamecube and Wii, and even the PS3 emulator on my main gaming PC, and I can stream directly to this handheld. All the controls were already mapped, ready to go. It's actually detecting it as an Xbox controller. And if I head over here to the Dolphin emulator, we can launch it. It's going to come up kind of in desktop mode, and we can even navigate our games list directly from here with the controller. Start a game right up. We can get right into some GameCube or Wii gameplay very easily. And here it is. So I've just got this set at 1080p, we've got Auto Modalista, and the handheld itself wouldn't run this with the Android version of Dolphin, but streaming it is no issue from a more powerful device. And like we saw, I also have the PS3 emulator set up with Steam Link. This is RPCS3. And one of the best things about streaming, at least in the house, is you don't have to have a super fast internet connection. You'll have to have a decent router in order for this to work properly, but it's not sending anything out to the cloud or taking anything back. This is all working on your home network as long as you're in the house with Steam Link or Moonlight. Because basically, all that really needs to happen is the handheld needs to communicate with your PC and send those signals back and forth. It's sort of like cloud gaming, but instead of sending the signals out to a different server, you're just sending them over to your main PC in your home network. And I've had really good luck with Steam Link, but if you want to go with Moonlight and you've got an NVIDIA card, it also works very well on the Retroid Pocket 3. The next thing I want to take a look at is PlayStation Remote Play. This will work with the PS4, PS4 Pro, or PS5. Right now, I've got this connected to my PS5 using Remote Play. You can use the Remote Play app, or there's third-party apps on the market that you can use. But you need to set up Remote Play on your PS4 or your PS5. You're just going to go into Settings, Remote Play, enable it, get a pin. It'll ask you for the pin on the handheld, and now you can play your PlayStation directly on this screen here and use the built-in controls. And again, this isn't cloud gaming. We're on the home network, so latency is very minimal as long as you have a decent router. I always have my PlayStation, be it a PS4 or a PS5, connected over Ethernet. That way we've only got the handheld on Wi-Fi and we've got a nice strong wired connection on the console that we want to stream from. And this is something that I've been using quite a bit on different devices for around the past month or month and a half. I've been playing a lot of Ratchet & Clank and Spider-Man Miles Morales at night when I can't turn on the big TV, my wife's trying to sleep. I just grab my phone, or now I've been using the Retroid Pocket 3. And the final thing I wanted to show off here was Xbox Game Pass, game streaming, xCloud, whatever you want to call it. I still call it xCloud. But with this, you will need a decent internet connection. And even on my more powerful Android devices with Wi-Fi 6 built in, I still run into some latency. That's just how it is with xCloud or Xbox game streaming right now. But even on AC Wi-Fi with the Retroid Pocket 3, games are playable. Navigating the Game Pass app itself is nice and smooth with the hardware we have here, but this really comes down to your internet connection. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like cloud gaming, but this can be convenient for some people. And I know there's people out there that have tested this on a not so great internet connection and got a bit frustrated with it. So I just want you to keep that in mind. I mean, this isn't going to work out great for you if you don't have fast internet. And the way it's set up right now with cloud gaming, I don't get better performance on my Galaxy S22 versus this handheld right here, and it really comes down to the service itself. That S22 has a much more powerful CPU, it's also got Wi-Fi 6, and I basically get the same performance between the two. Now there's definitely a few things here I would have loved to see change with the Retroid Pocket 3. Like first of all, if it had Wi-Fi 6, that would just be a really big plus. And hopefully they do add that to the fourth version if they're thinking about making the fourth one. I personally really do like the screen they chose here. It's a little over 720p, and when I'm streaming I just set it to 720p, which is definitely going to help out with latency. You could go 1080 if your PC can handle it when you're streaming with something like Steam Link or Moonlight, but it's really not going to make much of a difference given that we're just a bit over 720 on this display. But another thing I wish they added here would be analog triggers. Now, one of my favorite genres of games is racing, and I love having those analog triggers, or linear triggers as some people call them. That way you can give it a little bit of gas, a little bit of brake, or just floor it all the way. Unfortunately, these are basically just on or off, so it's all gas or no gas, no matter what. So far, I've been really enjoying the Pocket 3. It's not the most powerful Android handheld device on the market, and like I mentioned in my first video, I wouldn't run out and buy this for 3DS, Gamecube, Wii, or PS2 emulation, but there's still a lot of stuff under that this thing can run, and as you saw in this video, it's pretty good at streaming also. If you're interested in checking out my first video, link for that is in the description. If you want to learn a little more about the Pocket 3, link for the website is also down below. And if there's anything else you want to see running on this device, let me know in the comments below. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. And like always, thanks for watching.